Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye and this is my world. Okay, let's talk about pastors who worship money instead of God. Okay? Before we get started, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for leaving your comments. I really appreciate it. So now let's dig in. You see, these spiritual leaders, a lot of the pastors out here are narcissists. And a lot of them, because they're narcissists, they're really just out to take advantage of the people. And they use religion to do that. Now, I'm not going to say all pastors, but I'm going to talk about the ones who obviously worship money. Okay? And the reason I say that because when you go to the church, being part of the congregation, if getting money from you is one of the most important things, then your pastor worships money. I heard somebody say that in some of these churches, they put ATM machines in there. So you don't have an excuse why you can't pay. You understand? And many of the churches today, especially these mega churches, when you become a member, they welcome you in to become a member, and then they baptize you. Next thing, you find yourself in the office telling them how much you make, how many people in your house, where you live. You almost have to fill out an application to be a part of the organization. That should be a telltale for you right there. You understand? Because a narcissistic pastor is not out for your spiritual health. He is looking at it. It's a business, and he is looking to make a living, a well living from his church. And I've seen this happen so many times. Savvy people will go out and just start a church. You understand? They'll start a church because it's a tax shelter. It's a tax shelter. It's all about the money. You understand? And they'll start this church, and then what they'll do is buy their homes and cars and whatever, all under the umbrella of the church. And then here you are. You go to the church for spiritual guidance and understanding. And this is what you want. But look at it when you go. Number one, it's like going to a show these days. You go to church, it's like going to a big show. So you go, the choir is singing, and everybody's dressed in their little whatever. And then when they get ready to bring the offering around, it's usually before the pastor comes up to speak. See, the pastor doesn't know what to say to you if you haven't put enough money in that plate. So he might not even come up and talk to you. Or he'll come up and criticize you for not putting enough money in the plate. I heard a pastor say to his congregation, will you rob God? You understand? Will you rob God? Well, listen. An offering is a donation. It's a donation that you give to the congregation, to the church, because you want to support the church. It should not be an obligation. It's a donation. And these churches today, a lot of them are treating their congregations like it's their obligation to support and bring this church up, because it's not just supporting just to keep the lights on anymore. It's supporting the pastor. The pastor. And these pastors, what they do is, with all of your hard-earned money, they live a fabulous life. A fabulous life. You see, but what about your spiritual growth? Are you getting what you need spiritually? Are you really? You understand? Many times they'll just tell you, they'll quote a scripture and then tell you an interesting story or whatever. And some of these pastors are performing miracles. They are performing miracles in the church, and the people are, you know what I'm saying? People, even in your own Bible, it talks about these things. All of these signs and miracles that these false prophets will come out here and do. These people worship money. They're only about the money. And they use the scriptures or whatever your religious doctrine is. They use that. You understand? To get what they really want from you. Your money. Your money. But then they leave you in a state of confusion. Now, in some of these churches, I see that big fights break out in the church over this money issue. I've seen churches where the pastor will curse the congregation out if they don't put enough in the offering plate. This has nothing to do with spirituality. It's about the money. Religion has become big business, very big business. And people are getting wealthy from that business. But it's all about taking advantage of you. Of you. Because a lot of people in the church, they need help. That's why they're there. For some reason, they feel like they need the help. And these people are taking advantage of it. And on top of that, another thing that they amaze you with, they have these prophets and prophetess, whoever they are, where they get up and they'll prophesy things to you, saying that they're getting these things from God or whoever they're getting it from. And you are amazed by the things they're saying, and you want to believe. And these people, a lot of them are just making this mess up in their heads and just deceiving you. Deceiving you. And see, all of this, your soul is not getting nourished from this at all. And many times, if you really listen, when you go to these congregations, they're saying the same thing over and over and over, the same thing. And it's the same people that got to come and get saved every week. The same people. It's because these pastors are not spiritual. Yeah, see, I'm not talking about all the pastors. So, and some of these congregations, you have a wonderful congregation. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the many congregations that are not. Now, I tell you, when I was raised in the church, I come from a long line of pastors, a very long line. Even my father was a bishop, so, okay. But what I'm trying to tell you is that spirituality should not have anything to do with money. Now, if you decide to join a church, my feeling is that you donate to the church to support the church. Not the past. I mean, the pastor, that may be his only income, and you want him to be able to have a comfortable living, but it's not necessary for him to drive a Rolls Royce up to the church and live in a mansion somewhere, and you can hardly feed your kids. Do you understand? And this is happening. What they're doing is telling you is if you listen to the gospel and if you do this and if you can have this. See, that's prosperity ministry. You can have what I have. All you got to do is believe. Well, like all falsehoods, there are some truths in it. And if you believe in yourself, you can have all those things. Not that you believe in what he says or she says. You have to believe in yourself to get these things. These pastors are just taking advantage of you. Just taking advantage. And, now there are some congregations where people's lives are turned around. I understand that. You understand? Maybe you were on drugs or whatever, and you went there and the people embraced you and you came out on the other end whole again. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. See, it's not all congregations, but these mega churches, be careful of those. You see, a lot of the mega churches started small, where the pastor, took care of his congregation. Any of them got sick, he'd go see him in the hospital, go visit them and whatever. And you felt good about being a part of that congregation. You really did. But as that congregation grew and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, now the pastor doesn't have time for you anymore. It's just too many people. And plus, a lot of times, I say fame breeds corruption. I've seen that happen a lot. These preachers, they get big, famous, and money's coming in, and they have all the trappings or whatever. A lot of times it breeds corruption. Maybe the pastor didn't start out this way, but he turned. And if he's living in a big, fine mansion somewhere, you got to support that living. Where do you think he's getting the money from? He's getting it from you. From you. But what are you getting? What are you getting from it? Are you getting the spiritual growth that you're looking for? Or are you just going there listening to the music? You enjoy that. You understand? Like a show. Now, if you're comfortable in going to the show and you want to put your offering in there, that's fine. That's fine. But when the pastors put the pressure on you about your tithes and how much you make, and and if he sees you with a nice car, he's looking back in the books to see how could you afford that. He's worse than the banks. He's worse than the banks. People, you don't want to put yourself in a situation like that. You don't want to be in a situation. What do you need somebody on your back for? When you go to your houses of worship, when you leave there, you should feel uplifted. You should have more knowledge than when you went in there. Not coming out and talking about some nonsense that the pastor talks about he saw on TV. You should be spiritually lifted when you come out of there. And not just emotionally lifted because you had a good time. Just because you had a good time. Now, some people join these congregations just because they want to see and they want to be seen. That's right. They want to see and they want to be seen. So if that's why you're going, wonderful. Wonderful. What I want to do here is just make you aware of these things. You have free will. If you are happy where you're going and you don't have a problem with these people, go. Have a wonderful life, you know. But I hope that you take care of your own soul and don't rely on these people to lead you to some sort of spiritual reward, I guess. Wherever they're trying to lead you, well, they're trying to prepare you for your heavenly place after this life. I think that's the objective. Even to get to that place, you understand, you still have to follow the ordinances of your religion. And I'm gonna tell you something. I hate to go back to Christianity, but that's what I was raised in. So I want to talk about that here. If you are one that follows the Bible, if you will look into your own scriptures, it says in your own scriptures that if you don't follow the commandments, the covenant that came down, if you don't follow the commandments, your God doesn't even know you anyway. It's in your own book. But your pastor's not going to tell you that. You understand? He's going to sell you some pie in the sky to get your money. See, a lot of these pastors came off the street. I'll tell you, a lot of them weren't nothing. They were pimps, robbers, killers, thieves. And many of them decided they go into religion because this way they can make the same money that they can make selling drugs or whatever on the street. They can make the same money, you see, but they don't have to worry about the police coming and breaking down the door. A lot of times these are the people that you're dealing with. Women and men. So don't be fooled and think that the women are all righteous. Women and men. They're doing the same thing. The same thing. And I even heard the other day that some celebrities are organizing these churches just for a tax break. You understand? It's a business. That's all it is. It's a business. And it's a business to control you. You understand? And the churches are doing such a wonderful job controlling the people. And that's why the government doesn't tax them, to be honest. That's why they're not taxed. Because they're doing such a wonderful job keeping you in line. That's right. Keeping you under control. Because a lot of times, see, you're afraid to use your own mind about things. So, I'm telling you, your pastor usually it's the one that you go to for guidance if you are religious. You go to your pastor for guidance. If your pastor is corrupt, how can they guide you to anything good? How can they guide you to anything good? I'm telling you. It's happening too many times. And these churches, I'm telling you, they're popping up everywhere. I mean, on every corner there's a church here. It's just a tax break. People are doing it so they don't need to pay all these taxes, but then they are using you and taking advantage of you in the process. That's the thing. They're taking advantage of you. Now, I know there are going to be some people, that say they don't see it. They don't understand it. But there are some people who have been affected by these pastors, and they understand exactly what I'm saying. People, be careful. Just because a person comes with your religious doctrine to you, or prophesying, or whatever they're doing, be discerning about these people. Be discerning about these people. You don't know what energy they're bringing to you. You really don't. You see, if you take time and go, you go to your congregation, take time and just look around and see if this is really right. If you don't go in there full of emotion, you can use your mind. You can use your mind. And a lot of times when people are going to church, they're just emotional. They're just they're going there to praise their God and to get enlightened. I understand that. You understand? But your leader needs to be on the same page. That's all. Your leaders need to be on the same page. And I really hope that you understand that. I'm not trying to put down all the pastors. I told you, I'm from a family of a whole slew of them. A whole slew of them. And they all got churches. You understand? There are some holy people out here. Some very holy people out here. And if you are fortunate enough to have one of those truly holy people as your guide, your spiritual guide, then you are blessed. So, people, I hope that you understand this message, and I hope that it helps someone. Because I find spiritual leaders who worship money are actually destroying people and not helping people. So I wish you all well. I love you all. I appreciate those comments. So keep them coming and let me know how you feel about this message. So be good to yourself and love yourself. And I hope to see you next time.